Hello everyone and welcome to Theory Crafting. For this Pokemon Emerald solo run, I've decided to pick Cacnea. I like Cacnea's design a lot, but I never really used one in a normal playthrough, so I don't know how good or how bad it is. I guess I'll find out soon. First of all, let's explain the rules. I won't be using items in battle, only held items are allowed. The second limitation is that I cannot overlevel past the next gym leader or Elite Four member. This way I will have to overcome with something more than simple grinding. Every other mechanic such as breeding or trading is allowed. Also, I can use only one Cacnea per battle, but I can use a different one depending on the fight. Let's take a closer look to Cacnea. To be honest, I had no idea that its offensive stats were so great. 85 in both attack and special attack is for sure a nice change of pace compared to what I'm used to. On the other hand, I already know that 35 speed won't allow me to outspeed some crucial opponents, especially in the late game. Hopefully my low defenses will still allow me to tank few hits. As for the move pool, it's not bad at all, but it's really limited. The egg moves are rather unimpressive, and all my strong offensive moves are either grass or normal type. I do get feint attack, but I feel like it won't see much action. I'm really happy though to have early access to growth and leech seed. Also, later in the run Cacnea learns Ingrain and Spikes, so hopefully they will make for some interesting strategies. Before starting, a little disclaimer. All those parts of the game that require nothing more than wasting hours and hours are gonna get skipped through some external tools. Some of these tools are made by myself and probably are not the best looking, but they do work properly. I did a run like this without any tool once, and it took me over 100 in-game hours, so I really don't want to repeat that experience. Let's start the run with my random IV and nature generator. I'll be using my starting Cacnea at least until Mauville, so I can't afford to get a bad one. Having this in mind, after 30 tries I find one that convinces me. Now I start the game normally and, as soon as I can save, I open the save file and match the values of the starting Cacnea with those of the generator. Here I didn't notice that my Cacnea was supposed to be female, so I named it Spiky Boy. Before the first gym there are only 3 mandatory fights. None of them is difficult, but they serve as a nice background while I talk. So obviously Roxanne is not going to be a problem because I have Absorb. But Brawly might be difficult since, again, I will only have Absorb. I can also get Bullet Seed, but I don't like to rely on multi-hit moves. So I already have to think about EV training for the second gym. One problem is that Cacnea is part of the medium-slow experience group and therefore, despite the name, it requires a smaller amount of experience for the early levels. This means I have to be extra careful with my experience management, or I will end up overleveling while EV training. Here's what I did. As I reach Rustboro, I'm level 8. There's an hiker on the north that is mandatory to access the tunnel, so I go there and beat him. With that, Spiky Boy gets to level 10 and learns growth. Roxanne now shouldn't be a problem. I take down the first Geodude with a single Absorb, and I get to level 11. The second Geodude has a nature that lowers its speed, so I can get hit by Rock Tomb once and still outspeed. Until then, I want to set up growth. It wastes the first turn with Defense Curl, but the second turn I get hit by Rock Tomb. I recover all the damage with Absorb, and then Nosepass comes out. It's actually less dangerous than the Geodudes because it loves to spam Harden, so I set up 2 more growth and then, after the Oran Berry and 2 potions, Nosepass finally goes down. I also learn Leech Seed, but I won't be using it in the immediate future. The only reason I wanted to do the gym so early is that now Mr. Stone gives me the letter for Steven. As a reward for my help, he gives me the EXP share. Now I can split the EXP I gain while EV training, and this means that the amount of EV I can get before the second gym is effectively doubled. I need to boost my special attack, so I beat 152 Ralts from Route 102. I also take down 79 Wingull from Route 103 for the speed EV. I'll need those for later. As I said, I'm not actually doing this. I just calculate the amount of EV and EXP I would gain, and then I add the values with this external tool. If anyone is interested or just want to check if I'm cheating, there's a pinned comment with the exact math along with the timestamps for the major fights. Anyway, there's no mandatory trainer in Brawly's gym, so I can directly face him. First is matchup, and I need to set up a single growth against it. It uses bulk up on the first turn and that's fine, but now, with its buffed attack, a crit would probably take me down. It goes for seismic toss and 2 absorbs are enough to kill it. Second is Metatite, but its only damaging move is Focus Punch, so as long as I hit it won't damage me. Brawly has 2 super potions, and will use them both on Metatite if I give him the chance. So I slowly cheap down its health with Poison Sting, and on the turns he heals I set up another free growth. As Makuhita comes out, I have a +3 special attack, so, even considering the Citrus Berry, 2 absorbs are enough to win the battle and earn the second badge. The next gym won't probably be so easy, even if I resist electric type attacks. But before that, there's a rival fight in the way. His Wingull has wing attack and Combustion can deal a lot of damage even if it only has Ember. It's not an easy fight, so I had to complete my EV training and reach the level cap. The math is in the comment if you want, but in short I maxed my special attack and added some speed and defense. Also, here I noticed that my Cacnea was supposed to be female, so I fixed that and named her Spiky. I finally taught Bullet Seed to Spiky. If it hits more than 2 times it will deal more damage than absorb, and I think I'll have to resort to that. Now, rival time. First is Wingull, and I use Leech Seed right away. Thanks to my boosted speed I'm faster and, as you can see, the defense EV really make a difference. My goal is to set up as many growth as possible and thankfully Wingull doesn't go for wing attack every single turn. This time I get pretty lucky as it uses Super Sonic 2 times and misses. Once I have +5 special attack, I decide to take down the Wingull with Absorb. I'm full HP as Combustion comes out so it only can kill me if it crits. Here I use Bullet Seed, which probably was a poor choice. If I hit 3 times it will be low enough to activate Blaze, and then there's a good chance a single Ember will one-shot me. I do hit 3 times, but the third is a crit, so I'll never experience the disappointment. Last is Lombra, and a 2-hit Bullet Seed is enough to take it down. Now that Brendan is defeated, I can finally reach Mauville and, most importantly, the daycare. I don't want to bother with the details, but in short breeding allows you to find Pokémon with better stats, and it gives you access to the egg moves. The only problem is that breeding takes a lot of time. So, here's where my daycare simulator comes into play. Instead of spending hours hatching eggs, I can just generate them, and, when I find the one I need, I just add it to my game. Spiky has already reached the level cap, and there's a mandatory trainer in Watson's gym, so I can't use her without overleveling. I can't find wild Cacnea yet, but thankfully Cacnea is compatible with Oddish. The species of the newborn is determined by the mother, and that's why it's so important that Spiky is actually a female. So I catch an Oddish and then I write in both its values and Spiky's. After only 2 rolls, I'm satisfied with the values, and I add share to the team. I'm a genius, so I messed up while recording and don't have this specific part, but I'll show you the daycare simulator the next time I use it. At this point I don't need to manage my experience anymore, and I can fully EV train without overleveling, so I won't spend much time talking about that. Let's just jump into the gym fight. First is Voltorb, and I really don't want to set up my growth against it. It can paralyze me with Spark and has self-destruct, and both cases mean a reset. I Leech Seed right away as it starts sparking. As long as it is down to half health it tends to blow up, so I want to set up just 2 growth and kill it in a single hit. Here I accidentally use Sand Attack and waste a turn. But at least I don't get paralyzed. I do in the next turn, but my Sherry Berry cures it as I set up 1 growth. I am then able to set up another growth without getting paralyzed, and finally it misses due to the accuracy drop as I land a strong Absorb to take it down. As I level up I learn Ingrain, which is basically a leftovers effect. Electrike is second and it's for sure the weakest in Watson's team. It only has Shockwave and Quick Attack as damaging moves, so I use Leech Seed right away and then Chair plants its roots. As you can see all the damage I get is instantly recovered, so it's the perfect scenario to set up the remaining growth. When I have +6 special attack, I take down Electrike and Magneton comes out. It has Thunder Wave, but since it's faster than me it tends not to use it. I use Leech Seed on the first turn to stay healthy, and then 2 Absorb combined with the Leech Seed damage are enough to take it down as it misses a Sonic Boom. Last is Manectric, and it's kinda disappointing how it didn't even try. All it did was using Hull as I was draining its life forces with Absorb. Anyway, badge number 3 is acquired and now I can move on. The next part of the run is what got me worried from the start. Maxie probably won't be a problem until he has a Crobat. But the Fire Gym is next and every Pokemon in Flannery's team has Overheat, a 140 base power fire move. Neither Spiky or Chair have a chance, so it's back to breeding. This time I have the footage to show you. As you can see I put in the values of the parents, and then I generate the egg. There's also a counter that shows how many rolls I had to do, just to give you an idea. This time, after 20 rolls, I found the Cacnea I needed so I add it to the game and name it Fireproof. It's not just about the stat values. Fireproof also has a water type hidden power. I got really lucky finding it on such low amount of rolls. After giving the right amount of EV, I go ahead and fight Maxie. The fight should be easy so I didn't bother planning for it. My Tiana is first, and I want to see how much damage I do with my hidden power. By the look of it, 2 growth should be enough to take down the rest of its health, but in the process my accuracy gets dropped and I take a lot of damage. I can learn Feint Attack as I level up, but I decide to hold off for now. Camerupt is next, but I miss my attack. Ember does a surprisingly low amount of damage thanks to my EV and nature, and then I hit my hidden power for the one shot. Last is Zubat. But it's not even faster and goes down in one final hit. In Flannery's gym there isn't any mandatory trainer, so I can challenge Flannery right away. The plan is to set up 2 growth against the first Numel, since it has the lowest special attack, and then sweep the rest of the team with my water hidden power. With my huge special defense and the fact that Overheat brings down by 2 stages the special attack of the user, I should be able to resist 2 hits. What I didn't think about is that this Numel has Sunny Day, and will often use it when it doesn't see a kill. With the strong sunlight I'm not sure I can survive the hit, but I must try to set up my second growth. For some reason Numel goes for takedown and, even with a crit, it's not even close. Hidden power is then enough to take down the Numel, the Camerupt and the Slugma despite the strong sunlight. Torkoal would resist the hit, but as it comes out 5 turns have passed, so the sunlight fades and I can one-shot it too. I for sure didn't expect to beat the Fire Gym on the first try. Now I have to go all the way back to Petalburg and face my father. Cacnea has proven to be really strong, but this is usually a really difficult fight, so I am pretty curious to see how it does. For sure, I need a new Cacnea. After 87 rolls, I find the one I need and I name her Parasite. Parasite has outstanding IV, and it's really rare to see values like these, so I take it as a good sign. Norman sends out Spinda first, and it's usually dangerous to set up against it mainly due to Teeter Dance. I use Leech Seed right away as Facade does really little damage thanks to my really high defense. Second turn I use Ingrain and now I should be able to recover all the damage I get from Spinda. My Persim Berry cures my confusion, and then I start to set up my 6th growth. While I do that, here's a little fact about this fight. Spinda has Encore, but it won't even try to lock me into Leech Seed or Ingrain unless I'm slower. That's why I made sure to have just enough EV to outspeed it. Anyway, after boosting myself, I use Absorb to take down Spinda. It manages to survive with 1 HP and confuses me before going down due to Leech Seed. I can imagine Spinda doing that with a disturbing grin on its face. Thanks to that I take extra hits against Vigoroth, but Absorb and Ingrain keep me healthy enough. Linoon is next, and it can't really do much unless it uses Belly Drum, but then 1 Absorb takes it down easily. Last is Slaking, and I Leech Seed it immediately. He uses Yawn, which might be a problem. As expected, despite the +6 special attack, Absorb does very little damage. Thankfully an enemy with Truant is not the most suitable to deal with Leech Seed, so I can stay healthy. It can kill me only with a high roll crit, so I feel pretty safe. Slowly but surely, Slaking goes down and only gets 2 chances of attacking me. The ability of restoring so much HP over time is proving to be a game changer, and Absorb, a 20 base power move, is still being relevant in the mid-game. I can already see Giga Drain being a huge power-up. Anyway, the 5th gym is defeated, and now I have to think about Winona and her flying-type Pokémon. Before that, I have to beat the Team Aqua at the Weather Institute, but it's really easy and not even worth showing. What isn't worth showing but I do anyway, is the rival fight. He sends out Pelipper first and all it does is spamming Protect. I set up 2 growth and then start attacking, but it takes a while to go down. It manages to hit a Supersonic, so I'm confused as Combusken comes out. This time the rain plays in my favor, so Combusken never uses Ember and tries to set up Bulk Up instead. I hurt myself in confusion twice, but then my water hidden power does its job and Combusken goes down. Last is Lombra, but it only goes for Swift, so Absorb is enough to slowly win me the battle. The fight against Winona really shows how limited is my type coverage. Ideally, I want to use a special move so that I can boost it with growth, but Feint Attack is my only neutral option, and even at +6 it's not enough. All of Winona Pokémon have Aerial Ace, and I really can't afford to get hit by every single one of them. So, once again, I need a Cacnea with a favorable hidden power. I also need some specific stats, so it takes 109 rolls to find the one I need. Spiny Perch has an ice hidden power and a perfect speed stat. I feel like I'm really not good at finding good names, so if any of you wants to suggest me a challenge, write down some nicknames too. Anyway, let's just see the fight. Swablu is first and, even if it's weak, it is Perish Song, so it's better to take it down as soon as possible. After 1 growth, 1 hidden power is enough to one-shot it and Pelipper comes out. It has a barely higher attack than Swablu, and it tends to use Protect a lot, so I want to set up my growth against it. I predict a Protect on the first turn, so Spiny Perch plants his roots and start healing back the health lost against Swablu. Now it's safe to use Leech Seed, but Supersonic hits, and now I'm confused. It's not a big deal though, since Pelipper wastes its turns with Protect and, even when it decides to attack, I can recover a lot of the damage it deals. A Citrus Berry also keeps me healthy as I finally get my +6 special attack. Then Pelipper confuses me, so I decide to waste turns until I snap out. Ironically, I don't hit myself even once, but that was the safest play anyway. As I snap out of confusion, I can finally sweep Winona's team. I'm faster than all of them thanks to my EV and nature, so they have no chance of hitting me. Maybe I'm abusing of hidden power a bit too much, but I really didn't see another way of doing this without overleveling or relying a lot on the RNG. Anyway, now there's the tedious part where I have to face both Team Aqua and Magma. They're all forgettable fights, except for the Maxi one. I decided to use Spiny Perch again, mainly to deal with its Crobat, and brought him up to level 42 just to be safe. Mighty Yena is first, and its only damaging move is Takedown. Thanks to my good defense I can afford to tank its attacks, so I decide to set up my 6 growth. As always, I use Leech Seed and Ingrain first. It's not just for the healing. If it uses Roar and forces my HM Pokémon to come out, I must reset according to my rules. But as you can see, Spiny Perch stays anchored thanks to his roots. When I'm done setting up, I give Mighty Yena the ultimate disrespect letting him die to my Leech Seed. And next is Crobat. Wing Attack deals a huge amount of damage, but then I hit my Ice hidden power for the one shot. My Citrus Berry activates and Camerupt shouldn't be a problem. I'm slower due to Mighty Yena's scary face and Camerupt resists my attack thanks to Amnesia, but then, after a Super Potion and a weak Rock Slide, Camerupt goes down too. I expected Maxi 2 to be more difficult, but I'm not gonna complain. Easy wins are welcome, especially when I'm getting closer to face Tate and Liza. The 7th gym has already proven to be one of the hardest fight in the game. First of all, I have to decide how I want to battle them. I can't go with a single Pokémon or they will refuse my challenge. So I have to decide, do I go with a single Cacnea and a Magikarp just to fill in? Or does it make more sense to use 2 Cacnea just for this instance? I think that 2v2 is the way to go, otherwise most of the times this gym would be an automatic game over, and there's really no point on losing just because I have to 2v1. But I also think that a 2v1 would be impressive, and a worthy challenge for Cacnea since it did so well until now. As always, it took a really long time to figure out a decent strategy, and here's what I came up with. First of all, I need a new Cacnea. After 31 rolls I find it and name her strategist. Then I need to teach strategist few moves. First of all, I need the TM for Solar Beam in the Safari Zone. I also need Protect from the Lilycov's department store, but Brendan is in the way. It's the same story all over again. I set up against his first Pokémon, and then I'm able to take down the rest of its team easily. It always bothered me how the rival doesn't have a fully evolved starter in the last battle. But anyway, back to the strategy. I buy the TM for Protect, and then I go to the last floor of the building. There, a woman offers the player to teach Substitute, and that's all I need before going against Tate and Liza. The most important thing of this fight is being able to manipulate the AI behavior. Xatu and Claydol are first, and I send out Strategist along with a weak and innocent Magikarp. Xatu will always attack Magikarp because it sees a kill, and Claydol spams Earthquake all the time until it runs out of PP. On the first turn I use Leech Seed and, thanks to my high defense, Earthquake doesn't deal too much damage. And now the 2v1 starts. In order for this to work, I need Xatu to use Calm Mind while I set up my substitute. That's what happens most of the times, and this is no exception. Unless it crits, Claydol can't break my substitute and, thanks to my Leech Seed, I stay healthy. Now Xatu will always try to kill me with Psychic as Claydol will keep using Earthquake until it runs out. All I have to do is alternate between Protect and Substitute, and that's why it's so important to be faster than Claydol, otherwise I couldn't tank its Earthquake with Substitute. Anyway, the goal here is to PP stall Xatu's Psychic. Its other moves are Confuse Ray, Calm Mind and Sunny Day, so it doesn't have any other way of damaging me. Both Psychic and Earthquake have 10 PP, but I have to make sure to take down Claydol before it starts using Psychic or Light Screen. That's the main reason why I used Leech Seed on him. As it gets low enough, Tate and Liza use an Hyper Potion on it, while Xatu keeps wasting its Psychic. As Xatu uses its last Psychic, instead of using Protect I start charging my Solar Beam against Claydol. This means I have to tank its last Earthquake, but then it goes down before doing anything else, as Xatu starts using its other moves. Solrock comes out first because it has Flamethrower. It usually goes for Sunny Day first, but since it sees a kill on Strategist it just goes for Flamethrower. But Xatu has Sunny Day and right now I think it's picking random moves. So I plan to stall with Substitute and Protect until Xatu cooperates, and luckily, I don't have to wait. With the strong Sunlight a one-turn Solar Beam one-shots Solrock, and the same happens to the Lunatone right after. At this point the fight is over. All is left is to use Leech Seed on Xatu and wait until it goes down. Tate and Liza made this painfully slow since they used the remaining 3 Hyper Potion, but eventually the 7th badge is mine. I'm getting closer to the end of the game, but before that I have to advance with the final part of the plot. This means I have to face both leaders of Team Magma and Aqua. First I team up with Steven Stone and face Maxie and his admin in a double battle at the Space Center. It's a bit annoying because I can't control what Steven does, but for sure it's not the hardest double battle of the day. Anyway, Spiny Perch is able to stall long enough to let Metong do most of the job, and now it's time for the only Archie fight in the game. To be honest, I'm only showing this because it's supposed to be the last battle against the evil team, but there's really nothing new to say about it. I set up Growth against Mighty Yenna thanks to Leech Seed and Ingrain, and then I take care of the rest of the team. A crit from Crobat could have killed me, but aside from that the fight is really straightforward. After waking up Rayquaza, I can finally challenge the last gym. I'm going to use Strategist, but first I need to go to the Move Relearner to replace Protect with Growth. I also teach it Giga Drain and get rid of Solar Beam. It shouldn't surprise that the fight against Juan is a joke. He leads with Love Disc, so it's really easy to set up Growth. I used the substitute to avoid confusion and to make sure Kingdra doesn't kill me with Ice Beam. Once I have +6 on my special attack, my 5 Giga Drains are all I need to take down the 5 Pokemon in Juan's team. I guess I could have missed it against Kingdra because it set up a double team, but I think I had a Leppa Berry equipped. Anyway, the last badge is mine, but it's not time yet for me to face the Elite Four. First I have to do the battle against Wally, and I actually need some kind of plan to deal with its team since it has an Altaria and a strong Gardevoir. I choose to use Spiny Perch, but I need to redistribute his EV. With some Pomeg Berries I lower its HP, and then I add them mainly to its special attack. First is Altaria and I don't really want to mess with it, so I outspeed in one shot with my Ice Hidden Power. Second is Roselia and I'm not able to take it down in one hit, but it just lands a weak Magical Leaf. Wally uses a potion, so I can set up one free growth and then kill it on the next turn. Delcatty comes out and I plan to fully set up against it, so I use Leech Seed immediately. Sing puts Spiny Perch to sleep, but I wake up after few turns and start to set up growth. I soon realize this wasn't a good idea. Delcatty spams Assist, and if it gets something like Toxic I would be in serious danger. Not to mention that Sing hits again and Delcatty faints before I can finish to set up. Next is Magneton, and I need 2 more growth to one-shot the Gardevoir. I manage to set up, but then I'm confused, so I waste turns to avoid hurting myself against his last Pokemon. I miscount the confusion turns, so when Gardevoir comes out I'm still confused and hurt myself. What I tried to avoid exactly, but luckily Gardevoir tends to use Future Sight on the first turn. Then, I snap out of confusion and finally land the last hit. It was a really sloppy fight, but I'm happy with the first try victory. At this point of the game, I usually get really impatient. I'm already thinking about what I can do against the League and Wally. He just feels in the way. So, before the final 5 battles, I have to remind that trading is allowed by my rules. The only restriction is that I can't trade anything obtainable from a later point of the run. In this case, everything that is post-game is banned. But other than that I can trade freely. This is mainly needed to get multiple TMs or to benefit from tutor moves. So don't be surprised if more than one Cacnea knows Giga Drain or has Substitute. As always, I trained 5 new Pokemon just for the occasion, 1 for each member of the league. I'm going to show you the official attempt, but every strategy was previously tested in 10 battles. Based on the results, you will see a reliability score for every strategy. Without further ado, let's begin the first battle against Sydney. He leads with a Mighty Yena, so my attack is immediately down by 1 stage. This whole run I only used special moves, but it's time to showcase Cacnea's great physical attack. My White Herb restores my attack, and then I use Substitute right away. Mighty Yena almost always uses Sand attack on the first turn, and I'm not willing to deal with accuracy drops. As you can see, I taught Rocky Focus Punch. It's a 150 base power fighting move. Its gimmick is that it always attacks second, and if the user gets hit, then it fails. But if my substitute gets hit, it doesn't count, so even if Mighty Yena uses Double Edge and breaks it, I'm able to hit in one shot. Second is Absol, and it's the main reason for my buff defense. It has Aerial Ace, but if it doesn't see a kill, it will always use Swords Dance instead. That's the case, so I'm free to use another Focus Punch without risking anything. Shiftery is next, and here's where sometimes things can go wrong. It never attacks unless it can kill me, and its only damaging move is Extrasensory, but it loves using Double Team. Luckily I don't miss, so it doesn't get the chance to be dangerous. Next is Cacturn, and it almost always goes for Cotton Spore to slow me down. I say almost always because, as you can see, sometimes it uses Feint Attack instead. I'm still out of kill range, so I use Substitute again as it actually uses Cotton Spore. At this point, I can use Focus Punch and take it down. Crawdaunt is last and I'm pretty low, but that's why I have Giga Drain. I almost one-shotted as it lands a weak Facade. Sydney then wastes his turn using a full restore, so it's the perfect occasion to land a final Focus Punch. There's not much that can go wrong here, and the reliability score is a deserved 9 out of 10. Rocky has managed to beat an Elite Four member with a really niche move, so its evolution is well deserved. Next is Phoebe, and at this point I think she's the easiest Elite Four member to beat. She starts with a level 48 Dusclops whom only damaging move is Shadow Punch. The only thing that can make it dangerous is Curse, but that's why I have Substitute on pitch. I set it up as he uses Protect, and then I Leech Seed it. The important thing is to always have a Substitute up, and meanwhile set up for growth. Dusclops tends to waste a lot of turns with its non-damaging moves, so it's really easy to achieve my goal. Once I have a +4 special attack, for the first time in this run I can finally use Feint Attack. I outspeed every Pokémon on her team and one-shot everything except Sableye because it only takes neutral damage. Of course it's not a problem, and once again, there's nothing that can go wrong with this fight, so the reliability score is a 10 out of 10. Pitch didn't really do anything spectacular, but he's the only one who used Feint Attack, so he deserves to become part dark. Third is Glacia, the Ice Specialist. I'm weak to ice, but on the other hand 3 of her Pokémon are part water, so I can hit hard. The strategy is pretty simple. She starts with a level 50 Celio, and always goes for Hail first, so I used the occasion to Leech Seed it. Celio has a lot of HP, so it's going to heal me for quite a bit. Now, the important thing is that Celio only has Body Slam and Ice Ball as its damaging moves. I have a decent defense, so it will always go for the latter. I use the turn to set up a first growth, and then I use Protect to reset the Ice Ball damage. Celio is supposed to use Hail if it doesn't see a kill, but here it keeps attacking. This might be a valuable information for my future runs. Anyway, as Glacia uses a full restore I set up my 4th growth, and then I can outspeed and sweep her entire team with Giga Drain. I probably could have used Needle Arm as well, but I don't need more than 5 PP anyway. The reliability score of this strategy is a 9 out of 10. If I miss my Leech Seed against Celio, or get crit by Ice Ball, I just lose most of the times. After draining so much water, Mr. Zero is allowed to evolve. The last Elite Four member is Drake, and let me say that at one point I thought there was no way of beating him. I can't outspeed Flygon or Salamence, and besides Shelgon, every Pokémon in his team can hit me for super effective damage. Not to mention that I lack a strong move to deal with his dragons. So I had to once again resort to Hidden Power, a Dragon type one this time. Let's just see the battle. Thankfully, first is Shelgon. On the first turn it almost always goes for Protect, so I set up my Substitute. Just to prove me wrong, Shelgon goes for Rock Tomb, but my Substitute prevents the speed drop and, thanks to my decent defense, I easily tank the hit. The second turn I try to Leech Seed, but then it goes for Protect. This is getting annoying, but for sure I will hit the next turn. Nope, a friendly reminder that 90% accuracy is not 100%. Now I have to set up another Substitute, and meanwhile it actually misses 2 times in a row to compensate my bad luck. I finally get the Leech Seed, and now I can start setting up 6 growth. The rule is to always have a Substitute up, so it's a bit tedious, but eventually I manage to do it. It's really important to have a Substitute up while landing the final hit on Shelgon, because Flygon is next, and I cannot avoid his Flamethrower. Just as I said, my Substitute takes the hit and one Hidden Power takes down Flygon. Next is Altaria, and I really wish I could set up a Substitute before killing it. But with a single Dragon Dance it outspeeds and one-shots me with Aerial Ace, so there's no point on wasting HP for a Substitute. The problem is that once Altaria goes down, Salamence comes out. But joke's on him, his Flamethrower cannot kill me. Unless it crits. Well, I'll spare you all the first part. On round 2 he doesn't get so lucky and Lance hangs on with 14 HP, a single Hidden Power takes it down, and same goes for Kingdra. You have already seen what can go wrong with this strategy, but it's only a remote possibility. The reliability score of the strategy is another 9 out of 10, and Lance, after growing so much, can finally become a real cactus. Now it's time for the last battle of the run against the champion Wallace. My type advantage is pretty clear, but many of Wallace's Pokémon have strong moves to use against me and in high special defense. I don't want to bore you with the details, so let's just jump into the final battle. Whale Lord is first, and I initially thought I could set up against it, but Blizzard deals a surprisingly amount of damage. Thanks to my really high special defense, the highest Blizzard roll is 140, so on the first turn it always uses Rain Dance. I use the occasion to set up a Leech Seed, and then I need to PP stall its Blizzard. It only has 70% accuracy, so the chance of him hitting all of them is roughly 16%. If it misses, I can freely set up the one growth I need. Of course, it hits all of them, but as you can see, Whale Lord's huge HP pool plays in my favor. I need 35 HP to set up a substitute, and I get back 34 through Leech Seed. Anyway, once it's out of blizzards, I use growth as it goes for Rain Dance. The next turn Wallace uses a full restore, and I make sure to set up my substitute. This Whale Lord has a nature that lowers its special defense, so at this point 1 Giga Drain is enough to take it down. I should also mention that I used all my PP up on Giga Drain and substitute. Milotic is next, and he's the one I want to set up against. Its highest Ice Beam roll is 116, and, as long as I stay healthy, it tends to use Toxic and recover. Due to Toxic, it's really important to constantly stay behind my substitutes, so once again, the setup is a bit tedious. But at least there's no room for failing. With my 6 growth I can finally start attacking, but before that I must have a substitute up. That's because Tentacruel comes out after, and, even if I boosted myself, I can't one-shot it as it takes neutral damage, and has a huge special defense. One Sludge Bomb from it is enough to kill me, but the substitute does its job. Tentacruel goes down, and Ludicolo is next. Giga Drain doesn't always kill, but even then Ludicolo doesn't have much to fight back. Whiscash comes out, and I want to set up a substitute just to be safe against the Gyarados. It goes for Amnesia, but it wouldn't be able to tank the hit even with a +6 special defense, so it goes down. Last is Gyarados, and it's a 50-50 range. Its Hyper Beam can kill me in one hit, and that's why it's important to have a substitute. Even if I miss the range, I would still be able to finish it during the recharge turn, but here I just get the clean one shot. According to my results, I should give a reliability score of 10 out of 10. But I must reckon that I could get unlucky against Whale Lord. I've once seen it using Blizzard instead of Rain Dance on the first turn, and a crit or a freeze would doom me. Anyway, Rooter did an excellent work, and I let him become a Cacturn, which, by the way, I find pretty cool. I have to say that Cacnea exceeded my expectations. Having Leech Seed and Growth is just incredibly strong. But I feel like the strategies at one point got a bit samey, and I wish I could have used spikes. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm working hard to start making videos with my own voice, but for now I'm still forced to use this one. I still want to play Pokémon Emerald, so if you have any suggestion, I will be happy to hear it. But for now, back to theory crafting.